Bias.
He's in the button.
No, it's just funny every time we work. A little slightly different than last year.
Yeah, Jamie's looks a little different too.
It's just like the
Yeah.
outside. We've
She's
got
purple.
gold.
She brought her back.
We got yellow gold,
So
we got
you're gonna hold
regular
your
gold, we
color,
got
right?
rose gold. All the. I know. It's like every time I wear them, it's like rose gold.
Oh, so actually,
You
I know. Looks like you had a good time. We did. It was awesome.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah, it's great.
That's all right.
Good. You ready for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
How about you?
I think so.
Well, you're all rested up now.
We are.
So it's been 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got come to my house. I would love to have you.
Oh, well, thanks.
Yes.
Another time.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Call to order. Finance, Property and Supply Committee meeting. This meeting is of the Littlestown Area School Board of Directors. This is a public in accordance with the Sunshine Act. By participating in this meeting, you are consenting to the recording, retention, and future viewing of this meeting. Carrie, can you please call the roll?
Stephen Ewan. Here. Nick Lovell.
Here.
Stephen Yerger.
Here.
And Brian Easton.
We stand for the pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So we do not have any public comment this evening. And we'd like to start out. Start your presentation, please.
Okay. Good. So presentation this week or this month is going to focus on the facility grant and some feedback from the audit and AFR. So we'll have an official rundown of the audit hopefully in January from the auditors. But this is what we have from there from the AFR that was submitted. So we'll go start with the facility grant first. So original facility grant was submitted. So this was what I showed the committee last month, and we were looking at scaling this back in some fashion. So original grant was the submission. So I was going to go through what was submitted in the original grant because I'm not sure if we ever fully went down through what was submitted. So Blue Gym HVAC, that would include a full replacement of current heating systems and then upgrade that with adding air conditioning for the entire Blue Gym. 1990s window replacement would be a full replacement of all the 90s windows. As always, pretty self-explanatory. And then the HVAC pneumatic upgrade in the lower level down the bottom portion of the high school would be separated into kind of 2 or 3 separate areas. So we would have kind of the locker room corridors, and then we'd go classroom spaces and then shop spaces. So the locker room corridor would be the same as the Blue Gym, would be a full replacement of heating and add air conditioning. The classroom spaces were the same full replacement heating and air conditioning, and the shop spaces. So this would be original grant submission for middle school, high school would get us replacement of current heating and upgraded to AC in the entire building, and then additionally add the 1990 windows replacement that are end of life. So that's what the original grant submission was. And then on the ACES side was, those ones were more self-explanatory. So the HVAC units here would be one-to-one replacement, except for I think 3 or 4 units, but that had been replaced over the years that would not be end of life. And then the roof coating would be a full, just a coat on top of the existing roof, which is pretty standard after about 20 years. So So, and then we remember that the state was gonna get $500,000 for the middle school, high school, and $500,000 for ACES in our two different submissions. So now we have a chance to work with the architects a little bit, look back how we can scale that back. So we're gonna jump into the scaled down version that kind of the administration recommends to the finance committee to show this here. So that the blue gym, I just want to first note that the prices look different on this slide because of just the timing of when we submitted the grant till now. So the last one was when we originally submitted the grant. So now working with architects, they have a upscale of cost of goods now 6 months to 8 months down the road here. So 6 months to 8 months ago when we did the grant, that was the 800 and some thousand. Now it's crept up to 910. So that just shows you if we keep waiting, the prices are just going to keep escalating up. So the blue gym is going to be the exact same. Replace heating, add air conditioning. The windows would be the exact same, replacing them 1-for-1. The lower level, that's in yellow, is going to be in particular the focal point of scaling down. So since there's such a large area down there, we're going to focus on the classroom spaces in particular. So the locker rooms and classrooms would get full replacement of their heating, and we would add air conditioning in the locker room spaces, and then add what we would call mini splits, or basically mini units in each classroom down there to provide air conditioning to the classroom spaces, which would cover drafting class, I think it's robotics or STEM class, graphics, and ag. Then in the shop spaces, we would do a 1-for-1 replacement of the heating, but it was not cost effective to do AC in that section due to the size and just kind of the open air of those shops that are kind of open up to the outside air all the time. Mini splits wouldn't work. So there's really no viable option other than just replacing the whole thing and adding the state-of-the-art HVAC, or just replacing the existing heat and keeping as is, just upgrading. So that's kind of the scaled back version of middle school, high school that we would recommend as far back as the lowest scaled back version of that. And then the ACEs, we would do the roof replacement or HVAC replacement, but the roof coating within the grant. Because of the time frame to submit the grant, we were looking at items that were in the near future that we could submit for grant submission. So the roof coating, technically the end of life would be in the 27, 28 time frame, and then that would be on the capital project list to be reviewed as a wear and tear item that says we can do it now, we can maybe pause for a year, move it. So we're going to do that tactic we've done in the past. We're going to pause on that roof coating. It's not going to go away by any means, but at this point, since we're going to be providing more district cash than originally anticipated, we're going to just pause on that and maybe be able to do a different tactic on the roof coating. Or future grants could open up, we could resubmit the roof coating. So we're just going to wait on that side of things. That would be the scaled back version. So at the bottom of this section, you can see the original was about 6.3. The scaled down version is about 4.3, so roughly about $2 million of scaled back estimated savings. So the district cost would be about 3.3 million rather than the 5.3. So the ask from the finance committee would be just like we did for athletics, which proposal would we want to push to the full board to then proceed, because there is going to be, just like the athletics, there's going to be design costs and soft costs. Now, they are already incorporated in the prices shown here today, but there's going to be a lot of behind-the-scenes work that we're going to have to do to get these to bid day. So it's just a question of what does the finance committee want to push? They want to push the original grant submission or the scale-back version. And I just wanted to let you know that with the $3.2 million that was approved, we have enough funds to do the original grant submission.
Without raising debt.
Yes.
That's the key.
So that's just,
People need to understand.
it's just a preference.
Raising that surplus is keeping us from that.
So it's a preference of the finance committee to which one to move forward to the full board to look at. Preferably be one, but obviously it's a large decision, so let's have a discussion on that.
And you're saying this is tie-in estimates, or it's,
This would be inclusive of design and soft costs.
or did they like bump up costs or like projected?
It would be the exact same thing.
Like it could
for-
come in less and we.
Yes, yes, they have the 50% contingency like they did with athletics. Whether we use it all, we don't know until we get that far, and then they have a set amount for design costs. But that's already in that 910, 212, 1.2, they've already estimated that in.
So you're saying the original, you would use the surplus,
Plus existing
plus
capital.
existing, and you would not have to raise taxes?
Both options, you would have to raise taxes.
Correct. We just now have new knowledge of the state not providing 75% as original, so there was an opportunity to, if we reward, I know that it's a large price tag on this. This is the least available option that we, as an administration, looked at and recommend. It's a scale back version.
I will say I like the idea of resubmitting for the grant for roofing, but I understand why you want to go and when costs could potentially go up. So,
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
I'm just thinking about the basement of the high school and what we really want to do down there. Does it get, how do you take chalk and stuff like that on the side? Spend much time, does it get hot down there?
Judy, I'll defer to you as.
I would say, so like if you're going into, the back shop area where Jesse, Mr. Brand does a lot of his work, Mr. Ferguson, if you drive by during the day, a lot of times that big garage door is open because kids are in and out, so that's letting airflow in anyway. So to Thomas's point, if you put air conditioning in that garage door gets open and shut a lot, and you have the cows down there, whatever, so I don't know that it's absolutely necessary in that area. The wood shop doesn't get as much airflow in, so that would be the only one. Like, it's not unbearable, because it is on the ground floor, but it's not getting airflow like Mr. Brand's area, like that big shop area.
So, one question I would ask is, you mentioned that the doors were open a lot. So air conditioning is not functional for very low humidity and the cooling area. So, also wood shop, there's a lot of dust. So, I imagine there's probably systems in there that are supposed to capture, but you have dust collection, and, you know, would the AC be problematic because you got a lot of air, particulate in the air? Or is it like, the doors are always open, so if you spend the money to put the AC in there, is it really gonna do what you need it to do without the doors being closed?
I can't give you a definite answer on that, but I just know through the design phase, we would vet that question, be able to know what options are available of air conditioning for the shop. But I can't answer if there's concerns or problems with that without going through.
Some of your unknowns that you could get into, and then all of a sudden, we lost so much, and then all of a sudden, boom, it goes up 20% or something.
And we have the, as I say, we have the option through design. So just because the board approves, this is a plan to move forward, but through design, through the unknowns, the board always has the option to pivot. So if the air conditioning would not be an option through the shops or the architects, whoever would say, I would advise against it, we had the option before we would go out to bid to say, we don't want that in the project.
During
So-
the design.
So
We
this is
just-
just moving something forward to the point where
Yes.
you can get the information you need in order to make good decisions.
Because if we would proceed with both options, then we're paying to design both, which is an added cost. It's preference to do one, and if we find some unknowns in the process, I bring them to the board and we address them through the design. It's gonna be very similar to athletics. We have some unknowns, and when we hit any of those, that would come to the board and we can proceed, or scale back, or change, or pivot based off of new information.
and you're saying we aren't the
these are tentative, we cannot lock these prices in at any means.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you could say it's the high end. That's what I'm asking, is it a high end or whatever, and then you say, oh, I got all this money to spend.
So it'll be the same thing as
Because you approved this much.
it'll be the same thing as the construction project. We had a placeholder of not 50 million, but when it came to bid day, we didn't know exactly what rent was going to cost. But we had a ceiling that we were comfortable going to. And this would be the same. We would set a ceiling that we would be comfortable going to.
Question I think that might be on the table is, would we be required to go to that ceiling if we approve that?
No, the
Yeah,
board has the
that's
option.
what I mean. You're gonna say, well, you approved 5 million, we're gonna spend 5 million. I don't-
What?
That's not. Okay, and then, the roof coating, we have to decide, do we want to go back out for a grant with that, or?
Well, I'll just say that the grants are not guaranteed to continue. They were a one-year grant. Now, I know the state, or I should say the school district would like the grant. There's a lot of submissions. I would think that they would want to continue them, but like I state, it's a year to year, whether they have the funds or not, they'll keep it going. But if they do, we will resubmit again. Hopefully we thank them enough to be awarded again. Because this was competitive against, I think, 800 and some applications, and we were ones that got 2. So we would go again. Well, I'm just saying, it was a pretty tough competition. I didn't think we were going to get both, but we did.
Now, one or the other, you have it listed, the original ask and scale back ask. The bond money goes to the project as you move forward. In other words, is it split or is it building specific?
So the only thing that's building specific is the 500,000 to the middle school, high school, and the 500,000 to AC. The thing we can change is we can change the scope of what we're doing, but we can't change the projects itself. So we have to do the 3 things listed, but we could go down or up or restructure them, but they still have to do those. We can't just now say we want to add something into the grant. So the grant was a snapshot in time, we submitted it for that. We have no change other than to basically go down, pretty much now. We can't afford to go up.
But no matter what, we get the 500,000, whether we do the original or tear down, we get 500,000.
So the 500,000 is tiered off of the 75-25 split. So we have to spend at least 25% above to get the full 500,000. So if we only spend 200,000, they're only going to give 75% of it. They're not going to give us 500 if they're going to spend less. So, that question I did ask
Right.
and got feedback. So it's just where, yeah, which one does the committee want to push to the full board? And obviously the other members will have conversation and we can.
Well, let me ask this. If we were to vote the original to go to the full board for vote, if the full board decided scale down, does it have to come back to committee, or are we okay with going forward right
So
now?
the full board, I think, would supersede the committee. And
Because sometimes it's like kick it back to committee.
if the full board
I
would,
just want to make sure.
I would say if the full board would say, go back to committee and reassess it as a new option, then that would be correct. If they would proceed, I think that just is a proceed to move forward.
But however,
Correct me.
I thought when you take it to the full board, you only present the options that our committee went with, not those.
We could have both. We've done it in the past that says option A, option B, but the board would only be able to choose one
Right.
option. Or we would advise people to choose one option.
The one thing that I want to just call out is, as Tom and I were working on this, there is not a lower scaled version of the project that we would be comfortable moving forward with. So what you see here really is the original, and it's really the bare minimum that would still provide what's needed for our students. Well, my honest opinion, Mr. Lovell, is either one would be fine, but I would be personally happy with the scaled down version to provide the relief to the lower level, giving them that option in the classroom and a HVAC, and giving them a lab area or a shop area that they can keep the garage doors up or down as they choose or as they need. So to me, that makes the most cost-effective value. I'm not always one that wants the high end, I'm the one that wants the best value.
Dan?
Do you agree with your boss, or do you have a difference of opinion?
I think we submitted the grant because we want to have all the facility in a spot. I think the scaled back version, like you said, is, this gets exactly what we need from the school district level. And it addresses all the air conditioning concerns, so it's just a philosophy of, do we save the money, we're gonna use the money side, because that's where I fall on things. Do we save it now, potentially use in a different aspect in the future, or do we use it exactly for these exact things now?
Well, seeing the unknown of the future, I think the scale down model is probably